Yo, what's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
It's like it's Minute Maid, hijack 4, renegade, 24, number 8, Kobe shit fade away, ballin' since 11th grade, still in school, let them hate.
In the NBA in general, and especially in times like this, due to these circumstances that we've been dealt with, we tend to get really bored and our curious minds start to wander off into a bunch of different things. And we start asking questions, a lot of them. And some of us even think about questions that are impossible to answer right now. Whoa. I ain't gonna lie, you felt that? I felt that. Things just got a little bit deep in here. But anyways, to escape that woke talk in general, people are just always looking into the future and just have a certain itch to try to figure out what's next, who's next, and if they're already here. For years and years now, there's been so many players, as we all know, who's gotten comparisons to all-time greats. And by far the most popular comparison that I've seen, and the most hardest that I've seen also to actually be accurate, is the Kevin Durant comparison. That is just one comparison that just seems to be unrealistic. Year in and year out, there's always some kid who gets this comparison. He gets all the hype in the world, but all of a sudden when it's really time to buckle down and show out what you're really made of, the hype train just vanishes and the prospect does the Houdini, as if the comparisons weren't made in the first place. Ever since Durant has established himself as a superstar and has proven that night in and night out that there hasn't been another player in this world's existence who can match his height and coincide it with his skill pound for pound. He's an anomaly, he's abnormal, he's a freak, he's Kevin Durant. The most common trait that tends to haunt big men like him who are so tall is that they aren't able to dribble the basketball so well, since it takes the ball a lot longer to hit the ground compared to actual guards who are a lot shorter and closer to the ground. It's just little things like that that a lot of people don't really think about. And because of that, that's why bigs will forever tend to lack a great handle. But as we've been seeing, these 6'11", 7-foot prototypes have been rolling out each and every year, as if they were made in a factory, and these GMs are out here ordering a mass production of them. But all of these products that we are seeing nowadays are heavily flawed and they just don't hit the same. I can compare this to shoes, retro Jordans specifically. From afar, from a distance, you cannot tell me that the fake $40 pair of Jordans that I got from the flea market is different from the authentic pair that you can get from Foot Locker or wherever. Bro, I promise you, nobody is stopping me at the mall and calling me out for my fake J's if I had some. Why? Well, because they look good and they're aesthetically pleasing. But hey, you got me here. They for sure don't perform the same and the technology is completely different from the true OGs. After running a couple pickup games and some Fugazi Jordans, depending on how serious you're playing, 9 times out of 10 they'll probably be tore up because they aren't crafted and catered to as the authentic pairs. There's been so many Fugazi Kevin Durants out there in the NBA world year after year after year, but none of them have been able to accurately compare yet. And that brings us to this point. Who will be the closest thing to KD? Who will be the next great 7-foot scoring guard? Who has the greatest chance to be something of that nature? LeBron has his Zons and Ben Simmons to be able to compare to. Not accurately, but the comparisons are there. Steph Curry has a guy like Trae Young who can do something similar to what he does. But Kevin Durant right here is all alone by his lonesome for now at least. As of today, March 23rd, 2020, as far as my knowledge goes, there's about 4 individuals who have a slight chance to fit the KD standard. These individuals may not have the complete bag of tricks like KD, but definitely can do some of it and have the potential and capability to do the basics, to go ahead and somewhat fill this role that needs to be fulfilled in the NBA in the next 5 years. First off, you need to be dummy tall. You have to have the capabilities of a guard and have a great handle and the ability to shoot. Shoot specifically in any situation, whether it be off of the bounce or in a catch and shoot situation. Now, was this a tall task to fill? Yes. Was that pun intended? Not really. So the first contestant up is one of the most beloved underdog stories out of the 2019 NBA draft. That man, Bobo. He takes this KD comparison to the next level, to the extreme, I'm telling you, because he's a legit 7'2" center out here. He's something that we've never seen before. Or, hold on, stop that clip, is he? If Bobo doesn't end up panning out too well, he is going to give me Thon Maker type vibe. This is going to remind me of a Thon Maker type beat, as I should say. I sure as hell hope not, because that would be hella depressing. But after he surprisingly stooped all the way down to being a 2nd round pick in the NBA draft, after years and years of people waiting to crown him next up to take over the demigod throne that KD has had for over 10 years now, Bobo's future is left with a ton of uncertainty. His entire 60-game season was either spent in the G League or on the bench, which means that he gets to start his rookie season next season, whenever that starts. Now, Bobo has had a massive crowd of support behind him, wishing him the absolute best best in his career. One of the main concerns for him is his health and his durability. He has a ridiculously thin frame for someone his height. When you think about it, yeah, he does have an advantage because he moves a lot better than people his size, but that advantage doesn't need to be this extreme, because at this point he has the potential to be a negative on the court if he isn't that great on the offensive end right away. Another important aspect of this convo that may have gotten overlooked is situation. There ain't no way in hell that any of these players are going to be able to reach their full potential without the right opportunity. If they aren't given a good chance to see a large amount of NBA minutes on a consistent basis, then I don't care what you say, dog, none of this is happening. And this is where things get really tricky for that man Bobo. If you look at his organization and the direction that they're headed into, they're doing perfectly fine right now, and they've handled Bobo's situation extremely well if you ask me, giving him all this room and space in the world to let him get stronger and better in the G League. But once the time comes when he's ready to suit up and perform, he'll probably get MPJ'd. Yes, I said it, Michael Porter Jr. He'll get put on a short leash and most likely see non-meaningful minutes on the court. So due to that and so many other questions about Bobo, I'm not too sure if he can fulfill this tall task. But who has an even better chance to awkwardly do so is his teammate Michael Porter Jr., the man who we just mentioned. Now, not too much has to be said about Michael Porter Jr. because in this video, out of every prospect, he's the most proven one, if I may say. And plus, if you didn't know already, I already made a video about Michael Porter Jr. not too long ago, so go ahead and check it out. If you already checked that video out, then you already know that there's not really much new that I can tell you about this man. Viewed and portrayed as that dude coming out of high school until he got hurt. But since all that controversy hit him, he's been much better off and has seen much better days. Now, MPJ isn't as blessed as Bobo in the height category, but the man still stands at 6'10", damn near 6'11", and he's a much stronger player than Bobo. So he has the durability and strength to consistently ball out regardless of all the strategies that defenses throw at him. Because he's just that good, it doesn't matter. But there's one factor that doesn't care about none of that. It's the ultimate killer of potential in all dreams, and that's called opportunity. You see, MPJ has already had much more of an opportunity than Bobo, and most likely will going into the future since he's more of a vital piece to their success. I just don't know if he'll ever get enough of what's needed to ever reach that superstar status. He doesn't have that green light like KD did when he was younger. He doesn't have that right at all because the Nuggets already have a proven system that works. As of now, they just want him to come in and do just enough to get them over the hump for now. Since they have franchise player Nikola Jokic and sidekick Jamal Murray who can carry all the load. In order to be in that same topic of discussion of unstoppableness, if that's a word it is today, then all the dominoes have to fall. Each young player has to knock down everything. Nothing can be skipped in this process. So with that being said, MPJ may fall short of becoming that level of a great scorer, solely because of the greatness of his team though. So if Bobo and MPJ aren't up next to fulfill this role that needs to be fulfilled in the next 5 to 10 years, then who will? Well, let's go ahead and try to figure that out. One of the most intriguing, at least storyline wise, prospects was based in Seattle, Washington. Ironically enough, where KD first suited up in his pro career. A player that caught some light his way was Jaden McDaniels. He's a 6'9", of course, lengthy forward who is similar to the rest of these young players that are already named. Now here's the thing about Jaden McDaniels. I remember his name being constantly brought up during last year. And if you're a little bit slow in the mind and can't put 2 and 2 together, last year was his senior year of high school. And ever since then, I swear to God, I haven't heard much of that man. It feels like he almost peaked as a pro basketball player in high school, which is not good at all. Man was putting up 50-point performances and constantly appearing on Slam's IG and Twitter account. He was really starting to cloud up his own name. And at a certain point in time, he was seen as a lock to be drafted in the lottery this year. Now since then, not much has changed, but at the same time, a lot has changed, if that makes sense. Now just because of his sheer potential, he's going to be viewed as worth the risk to be a lottery pick to teams. Now in that aspect, yeah, nothing has changed at all for him. But the hype train for him has completely died down and the KD comparisons has slowed up and picked up and stolen by another young prospect that we're about to talk about really soon. But this entire year, I haven't heard much buzz around Jaden's name, and that's for a reason. His numbers during his first year in college were extremely mid. He only averaged 13 points on 40% shooting from the field. That's not nothing to PP your pants all over. He doesn't seem like he'll be much of a polished hooper on the court once it's that time, but it's okay because he still has a bunch of time to go ahead and grow into him. But as for now, I think those KD talks around him are deceased and should be put to rest for now. Thanks to not only his performances, but the next high school phenom that many of us already probably know. If you're taking a step out of the NBA world and dibbled and dabbled in the high school world of hoops, then you know just a bit about him. He's currently a 16-year-old 6'9" forward walking around with the ratchet in the state of Michigan. I say the word ratchet because it's a tool, it's a very lethal one. He's a pure shooter, and it seems like he's a pure shooter more than anyone on this list excluding Michael Porter Jr. The hype around his name is real, the movements and even the motion of his shot is similar to Durant. Now he is only 16 years old, and an avalanche of bad luck could just rain down his way and shut him down from reaching his path to stardom. But so far right now today, with the way everything has been going for this young man, him being so skilled at that age and so lengthy already at the age of 16, he actually may be next up to claim that unguardable 7-footer throne that KD has occupied by his lonesome his entire career. In order, I got Imani Bates, MPJ, Bobo, then Jaden McDaniels. Now I know, Imani is only 16 years old, and this entire discussion can be jacked up by the time he gets to college. MPJ could never get that true opportunity needed to pop out into the scene and engrave his name into this league as a star. Jaden McDaniels could be mid entering this league, and Bobo could just be too frail to hoop with these big boys in the NBA. Who knows? My hands are up in the air asking all these questions, and for now we can only do two things, which is sitting our derriere down and watching what actually happens, and appreciate all the jaw-dropping performances that KD has displayed and will continue to display for the rest of his career. Oh, and be thankful for this playstyle and this new breed of players he's essentially birthed. This is the end of the video though, man. I really do appreciate you for coming over here on my channel and seeing what I have to talk about today. That is extremely dope of you as usual. Make sure you go ahead and actually share this video with 2 of your friends because, you know, we're all bored and it's quarantine season. So go ahead and do them a favor and send them a vibe-worthy video. I also want you to go ahead and leave a like in this video and also comment down below and let me know what you think about it. Who in order is next up, quote unquote, to be the next KD. Go ahead and do your thing. But aside from all that, I want you to really subscribe to my Evolve channel and also make your day great. Get us to 500 subscribers. But until then, I'll get right with you.
No way, remember back when I couldn't get a play, no home, I ain't have a place to stay, I got to work, made it free to way, told my girl who that